We are reading the fifth stanza of the poem Obituary by A.K. Ramanujan. The poet metaphorizes his father's life as a parenthesis between the birth date and the death date. If you remove a parenthesis from the main part of the sentence, nothing happens to the sentence. The sentence continues to exist, continues to convey complete meaning. Similarly, by metaphorizing his father's life as a parenthesis, the poet suggests that his father's life was devoid of meaning, was devoid of significance, did not, his father's life did not convey anything important. Now he amplifies on this idea and explains that not only was his father's life a parenthesis between the birth date and the death date, and thus devoid of meaning, it was also devoid of genuine activity. It appears that the poet's father did absolutely nothing during his probably long life. The poet's sense of humor, the poet's sense of satire is revealed here. And the poet exemplifies his statement by drawing the reader's attention to the Caesarean birth of the father. The poet's father had a Caesarean birth. I think it is called C-section. C-section. An incision is made in the belly of the mother, in the uterus of the mother, and the baby is brought out. It was thus that the speaker's father was born. He had a Caesarean birth, which means that he did not have to take any effort. He was not born as most other babies are born. Some doctors made him take birth. He did not take birth himself. He was not responsible for his own birth in a technical sense, because with surgical aid he was brought out of his mother's womb. Like his Caesarean birth in a Brahmin ghetto. What a lovely construction. Ghetto. What is a ghetto? Ghetto is an area exclusively lived in by a community, a particular community, usually a minority community, by an ethnic minority or a religious minority. And ghettos are usually slums. Ghettos are usually more impoverished than the other parts of the city. He was born in a Brahmin ghetto, Brahmin slum, a slum exclusively occupied by, lived in by Brahmins. In a Brahmin ghetto, and his death by heart failure in the fruit market. How did he die? Did he commit suicide? If he had committed suicide, we would have complimented him. He did something. At last he did something on his own. He killed himself. He put an end to his life. But he did not commit suicide. He died by heart failure. His heart suddenly stopped working. His heart stopped functioning and he died in the fruit markets. You must remember that Brahmins are or were exclusively vegetarian. They were obsessed with vegetables and fruits. And while in the fruit market attempting to purchase fruits, the speaker's father, the poet's father, had a heart failure and he died. So was he responsible for his birth? No. Was he responsible for his death? No. Thus, the speaker's father's life is metaphorized as a parenthesis, something totally devoid of meaning and something totally devoid of activity. When he says Brahmin ghetto, he has in mind the Agraharam or the exclusive Brahmin settlement, where members of other communities were not allowed to live. Tamil Brahmin Agraharams are found all over Tamil Nadu, of course. There are Iyengar Agraharams all over Tamil Nadu, of course, and also in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh. In fact, the Iyengars founded an Agraharam in the village of Bero, 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 in Purulia, in West Bengal. When A.K.Ramanujan says Brahmin ghetto, he has this Agraharam with its claustrophobic atmosphere in mind. I would very much like to speak about the Agraharam, the meaning of the term Agraharam, the evolution of the Tamil Brahmin Agraharam. But this is not the appropriate context for such a lecture, because here is the poet debunking the Agraharam and denouncing Brahmin culture. I shall reserve my observations for some other more appropriate occasion. Let us move to the next stanza. There is no enjambment here. The fifth stanza does not spill into the sixth stanza. But someone told me he got two lines in an inside column of a Madras newspaper, sold by the kilo, exactly 4 weeks later to street hawkers. But someone told me we are speaking about a man who led a life which was more or less devoid of meaning and which was more or less devoid of action, responsible action. Still, the speaker received information from someone. He does not specify who that person is. Probably he does not know. In some context, some stranger must have shared this information with him. But someone told me. What did that someone tell me? He got two lines in an inside column of a Madras newspaper. The title of the poem is Obituary. But the poem now refers to the actual obituary of the speaker's father. The poet's father received an obituary. An obituary was published on the death of the poet's father. Where was it published? In a Madras newspaper. Was it a full-page obituary? No. It was a two-line obituary. He got two lines in an inside column. Was the obituary on the front page? No. He got two lines in an inside column of a Madras newspaper. You can understand from these lines how great a man, how important a man the speaker's father, the poet's father, was. He gets an obituary in a Madras newspaper, and the obituary consists of two lines in an inside column.